everybody. Joshua and Jason, or should I say Jason and Joshua, coming at you with a tasting video. We're going to be tasting our New York Distilling Rye Whiskey, right, which is coming out in August 2025. And we got this whiskey in hand now. We've poured this whiskey from our sample bottle, right? Because you're our logistics guy, right? This has not been bottled yet, right? This is
Nope, on the way. We're working diligently. There you go. You can get to see. I picked this up at the warehouse just the other week.
There you go. Here, I'll pop in a picture of it.
There we go.
So people can
beautiful.
see what it looks like. There you go. But there you go. Yeah, 10 years old on this rye.
It is, and I'm very proud to lead with the fact that this is a brand spanking new distillery for us. Mm-hmm. Never before have we put the New York Distilling Company in a single cask nation bottle. And we'll get into the details in just a second. But this was probably, back in 2024, we had this cask sample, and it was eye-catching, nose-catching, mouth-catching, throat-catching. This was one I immediately drew to your attention, Joshua, and said, I think we've got a Nicolas Cage cask on our hands here. And you said, and you said, I think I know what you mean, but could you put some leaves on those branches?
Exactly. So go ahead. Leaves, please.
And it's interesting because in returning to it to write label notes, to write tasting notes, the nose on this is really terrific. Even just sitting here with you right now, I'm getting a little touch of black pepper, and a nice little bit of spice happening on the nose. But it's not crazy, right? It's not leaping out the glass and up my nostrils.
No.
And when you're writing the notes, when you take the sip of it, we open the palate side of the notes by saying, hot damn! Like this, and it absolutely made me think of a very recent conversation I had with Shane Armstrong at Westland, where he talks about acceleration. And he talks about a nose that gets you, that holds you. It says, there's something here. Mm-hmm. And then there are casks that once they then get onto the palate, they take off, they accelerate.
Yeah.
And this one for me is exactly that, where the nose is welcoming, it's engaging, a little bit of cherry rolling around in there for me, a little bit of dark chocolate. Yeah. But once it hits the palate, off we go with Nicolas Cage.
It's like,
and we're giving it a hoo-ha! Right? Love it. Absolutely. And I made no qualms about conveying that to you. Yeah. And you saying, give me a taste. I'm on board here.
Yeah. I remember receiving the sample. And first off, the note that got me on the nose, first and foremost, was this bergamot, right? Mm-hmm. I love black tea in the morning. The thing that got me on black tea was Jean-Luc Picard, right? Earl Grey, hot. And that was it right off the bat. Some like cedar again. Like what got me onto whiskey is that whiskey is a time machine for me. It brings me back in time, and it reminded me of going to my uncle's house, and he would always pop a cedar log into the fireplace when we would go over there, in the fall or winter time, and you get that cedar note, you get that bergamot, and it's just warming, right? It's just sort of like gives you a nice little warm hug, and then you give it a go. And and I need to point this out, right, for the viewers. This is 67.8% alcohol. We've been nosing this, and it's not lighting my nose on fire. Right? Here we go. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Rich, unctuous, full. We always show the oils in these tasting videos. That is protecting the palate from that 67.8. However, the spice unleashes, right? The warmth unleashes here, right? It's so
Oh,
layered, right? Dark rye bread, cinnamon,
mm-hmm.
wax cherry lips, the black tea returns, the
Oh yeah.
peppercorns return, a little bit of
Pecan
brown
pie.
sugar,
Pecan
right?
pie, right?
I think he's got a little bit of that kind of pecan pie
Yeah.
sweetness going on to it as
Yeah.
well. That palate is doing a lot of
Oh.
things. To get some understanding, do you want to share the mash bill for this
Mm.
rye,
Mm-hmm.
Joshua? Because I think this mash bill makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
of where the nose and the palate
Yeah. So
notes.
it's 72% rye. So it's a bit higher on the rye. I mean, it's no MGP, but it's 72% rye, 16% corn, and then 12% malted barley. So the malted barley is going to bring in some of that nuttiness. That's where your pecan pie is going to come in.
Oh
And I
man,
think we got some walnuts on the nose too. But the rye, right? There's your rocket ship. There's your hot damn coming through. But the
and
corn, right? Go ahead.
I would
Mm,
just say for anyone getting into the category, for anyone starting to discover rye, your mash bill is a 51% minimum rye to
yeah,
be
yeah,
considered a rye whiskey.
yeah.
So you already know your producer here has taken the step from 51 to 72. When you're
Mhm,
saying a second ago, Joshua, it's not MGP, it's
mhm,
not 95%
mhm.
rye that
Yeah.
our friends at MGP are known for. So this
No, and
72
yeah.
sits in the middle there.
I think another thing to point out too when it comes to rye, MGP is like when people think of rye, they think of MGP, they think of that sort of beautiful dill-like herbaceousness. And MGP get their rye from a number of different sources, quite a bit from overseas, not even from the US. And when you're dealing with a New York distillery by law, they have to get their grains from New York. So this is all New York rye,
Nice.
um,
That's
right?
a great consideration. Yep.
Right. And so the flavor profile is quite different. It is not anything like an MGP rye. It is its
No.
own animal, um, which I really quite like. And this is a number three char as well, which, and I want to point that out because, like you and me, we're spirit guys, right? And the number three char, like when we think of American spirits, be it bourbon, be it rye, quite often the cask leads the flavor. But with the number three char, you have a little less interaction because it's a little less char. So you get to taste the influence of that grain going on. You get to understand that mash bill and how important it is,
Yeah.
the choices that they made in the mash bill.
Yeah. And to very much your point, I think it's worth making clear no dill in here at
Mm,
all. And I'm a big
mm-mm.
fan of the dill note
Oh,
in
yeah.
some ryes.
Dude,
It's
I
not in
love it.
here at all. And
Yeah.
then I will say for me, the finish is again, it's all dark cherries,
Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
chocolate, dark rye bread, uh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
cocoa powder, right? It's dark notes going on in there, but there's for me the brightness from the cherry cordials, right?
Mhm,
That
mhm,
lighter cedar spice
mm,
also has a place in here. And
mhm.
then I think the brown sugar with the pecan pie does a really nice job of balancing out the spice and
Yep.
balancing out those darker notes. For 10 years old, and do you have the banner there? For 10 years old and
Yeah.
67.8% alcohol, I think it is very well balanced. Mike, we're only 123 bottles on this.
So here's the
Oh
thing, Jason.
no! Oh no! Oh, no.
So
So
here's the thing, Jason. This was a 53-gallon barrel
yeah,
as well. This is a full-size barrel. At 10 years, we should have gotten so many more bottles out of this cask. I don't know if this was a leaker. I don't know if the angels were just greedy as all hell or all heaven. Um, but yeah, you're looking at 123 bottles, 10 years, right? So, solid price there at $100 a bottle there. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I would say here as well, in terms of quite a special cask. Obviously, there's low number of bottles. There's a high ABV. I'll also say New York Distilling Company was founded in 2011.
Oh, just like
We're
us.
distilling their own, just like us, distilling their own distillate in 2014. And this is a 2014 cask,
Yeah.
right? This is October of 2014. So we have a little bit of New York distilling history sitting right here as well.
Yeah.
And I think the history is great. I think the people are great. I think the liquid, the whiskey, the rye whiskey is incredibly well balanced. And I think if you're getting into rye or you're rye adjacent or rye curious, I think this fits with the best ryes we've bottled.
And, there's a lot of, so A, I agree with you. And B, I think of those people who chase hazmat bottlings. This gets you in the wheelhouse. We're not above 70. We can't call it hazmat, but man, it gets you there, right? It is full on flavor. And we're not doing it here, but Jason, you and I have done this privately. This whiskey does take to water. If you want to bring it down a little bit,
Of course.
bring it down a little bit, right? It's your whiskey.
Of course.
And it brings out some of the sweetness. For me, at least, it brings out some of the sweetness in a really lovely way. Some of those like cherry cordials that you mentioned before just pop for me.
Yeah. And final comment from me, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
But for me, the hot damn on the palate, it's not alcohol delivery. It's flavor delivery.
Yeah.
And it's a full panoply of flavors. It's I keep returning to it. It's one of those measures of samples that we often talk about is, do you return to it? Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And as always, love to play with it in a cocktail as well. But yeah, New York Distilling Rye, 67.8% alcohol, $100 a bottle, only 123 bottles. Don't snooze. Don't be one of those people who walks around the world saying, oh, I missed out on your first Catoctin Creek release. Jump in, grab it. You won't regret it. It's a really excellent New York rye.
And it's an online exclusive. Keep that in mind. You will not find this on retail shelves. This is singlecasknation.com only, online exclusive. Look out for your inbox if you're on our mailing list. Look out on our private Facebook group, assuming you're on our mailing list and in our Facebook group. If you're not, remedy that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do go ahead and do that. Look, I've even created a banner to remind you to do as such. Below, you'll see a little bell. You can tick that little bell to be reminded of, guess what? Other tasting videos that we do, of extra podcasts that we do. You'll be reminded of all the fun YouTubes that we do. So cheers to everybody. Jason, I love what you just did. I'm going to do the same.
Yum, yum.
Cheers, y'all.